Today we continue our series on new teammate partnerships in 2023, and this video will focus on the teammate battle at Aston Martin. With a new driver lineup this season, the team welcomes back Lance Stroll, but also welcomes new driver Fernando Alonso. One of the biggest storylines from 2022 was Alonso's shock move to Aston Martin, and now we finally get to find out whether this move will be the right one. So as Aston Martin unveils the AMR 23, and we see the debut of Alonso in his racing green, we're here to break down the numbers between the Alonso and Stroll pairing. We'll look at both drivers' careers individually, and then what we can expect from the team with these drivers. With Alonso pairing up with Lance Stroll this season, it means Aston Martin will have the oldest combined driver pairing. It will also be one of the most experienced teammate lineups as well, with 477 starts between them. So with a lot of F1 races under their belts, let's look at the teammate tail of the tape between Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso. You'll notice many glaring statistical differences between the two, but that should come as no surprise. The 17-year age gap and 233 race starts gap just goes to show how long Alonso has been in Formula 1. Alonso is 2 podiums shy of number 100, while his teammate currently sits on 3. Stroll has yet to finish better than P3 in Formula 1, and his highest championship finish has only been 11th. Alonso, on the other hand, has enjoyed 2 championship finishes as number 1, back in 2005 and 6. Alonso's record versus his teammates is rock solid at 15-4, while Stroll, on the other hand, has struggled to beat his teammates, only winning one head-to-head back in 2018. So now that you've seen a statistical comparison between the two, let's look at each driver on their own. At this stage of Fernando Alonso's career, it's nothing short of remarkable that he's embarking on his 20th season of Formula 1. What's even more remarkable is that he's driving at a high level with no signs of slowing down anytime soon. The 41-year-old Spaniard is a certified legend of the sport, and his resume speaks for itself. Along with 32 race wins and 22 pole positions, Alonso's career average finish is 6th place, which is mighty impressive when you look at his average start of almost 9th place, and considering the cars he's driven recently. He's reached Q3 196 times, and also tacked on 23 fastest laps for good measure. With 2 decades in the sport, Alonso's plan with Aston Martin isn't a swan song. He has a clear goal in mind with the Silverstone team.
I think it was quite an ambitious project, Aston Martin, from the first time that I heard about. This new factory, new wind tunnel coming, a lot of new people on the technical department that joined the team last year. So there were like all the ingredients to have success in the future. In my case, I will be happy to make a step forward from last year. I think this is the very first car of this new technical department that they build these cars. So definitely we need to get closer to the top teams. So like this, we closed that gap that last year seemed a little bit too big with the top 3 teams. Nearly they lap everybody in every race, and we don't want that anymore. So we want to lead that midfield. We want to get closer to these top 3, and then in 2024 make another step into that direction.
It's refreshing to see Alonso in British racing green, and this new partnership with Aston Martin is an intriguing one. We know Fernando is the type of character to push this team to the limit on and off the track, and his pedigree is maybe what Aston Martin needs right now. And despite his teammate being the elder statesman at the Silverstone squad, you just have to assume Alonso will command the attention and leadership of Aston Martin in 2023. It's hard to believe, but at the age of 24, Lance Stroll is entering his 7th season of Formula 1. He's been with the Silverstone team since the Racing Point rebrand in 2019, and of course ever since his father purchased the outfit. But despite early criticisms of pay driver status, Stroll has carved out a solid F1 career so far. His one and only pole position was a memorable one in Turkey, but Stroll still has room for improvement in the qualifying department. a career average start of nearly 14th has hampered his chances of scoring more points. He makes up for it with his good racecraft, finishing on average in 11th place. But only 24 Q3 appearances in 122 starts is not good enough at the moment, and although some subpar cars in his early days, qualifying will be an important area for Stroll this season. And this season doesn't get any easier for the Canadian. He's gone from having a 4-time world champion teammate to a 2-time world champion teammate. But many will agree that Alonso is a far tougher teammate to have than Vettel, so Stroll will have his work cut out for him this year again. And despite his status in the team, he will have to show more good results than he did in the last 2 seasons, especially if the AMR 23 becomes a competitive car. It's no secret that Aston Martin has fallen short of the hype since its rebrand from Racing Point. Since returning to F1, Aston Martin has only finished 7th in the constructor standings and only scored 1 podium. Although things haven't gone according to plan, better days should be on the horizon. The new Silverstone campus for Aston Martin is set to be completed in May, with a nearby wind tunnel finishing in 2024. It's been called a game changer by team principal Mike Crack for a team who is using the same facility Jordan used originally back in 1991. With the project almost complete and the arrival of Fernando Alonso, expectations are big once again for Aston Martin. Don't expect them to be at the top just yet in 2023, that seems more likely from 2024 and onwards. But this team will need to produce some solid midfield results and aim to finish at least in the top 5. With Alonso at the wheel of the AMR 23, this should be a realistic target, as they finished 2022 on a strong development path. As for the driver pairing, Alonso and Stroll do get along quite well around the paddock, so they should work together just fine. But Stroll will need to be on his A+ game in order to keep up with one of the toughest challenges he'll face in his F1 career. So what do you think of the Alonso-Stroll pairing, and where do you see Aston Martin finishing in 2023? We'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below, and don't forget to check out the rest of our teammate Tail of the Tape videos for 2023.